The NBA lottery is officially less than a week away, so we are this much closer to finding out who's winning the Wembanyama Sweepstakes. Now, it isn't every year that some generational talent just strolls up ready to play for the NBA. Now, it might seem like that because Zion was only drafted a few years ago, but Victor's different. He is something the NBA has never seen before. I'm talking a 7'2" big man who can do it all. I mean, you need defense, perimeter skill, interior skill, passing. He's great at all of those. I mean, even his scoring has been amazing in the French league he's playing in. In the LNB Pro A league that he's been playing in, which is the best in his country, Victor's been averaging 21.3 points per game, 9.9 rebounds, 3.1 blocks, all in the 30 games that he played with the Metropolitan 92s. And it's not even that he's playing good in this league. For the international team, Victor was averaging some pretty high numbers. I'm talking 20.3 points per game with 10 boards, 2.7 blocks, and his 3-point percentage was above 50, at 53 to be exact. But enough about some boring basic old stats. Let's take a deep dive into the way that Victor Wembanyama plays the game of basketball. More importantly, how he plays defense. You see, Wembanyama's measurements, I'd say, mirror the likes of Rudy Gobert, and to add on to that, I'd say that Wembanyama has outstanding instincts, his timing and mobility are fantastic, and that's going to be helpful maximizing his tools. I mean, his absurd tools. This guy, 7'9" wingspan, insane. At 7'9", that's like 2 of me, alright? His wingspan is 2 of me. But anyway, this wingspan will help create a larger margin of error that he can afford to have on defense, especially if he gets beat, because he can make up for it with his long reach. He can afford to get beat, basically. And he proves this with the amount of blocks that the guy's able to get. Hell, he gets so many, I'm pretty sure you can find an entire highlight reel of just his blocks alone. But it's not only his defense that's pretty nice, it's his coordination and efficiency on offense. You see, because of his crazy athleticism and freakish nature, he's able to get easy transition baskets. I'm talking lobs, cuts, dump downs. Dude is a cheat code. And even when he gets stuck in transition, his phenomenal passing is there to bail him out. I mean, his IQ with the ball is insane, like nothing I've seen before in a prospect. I mean, some would argue that his skill and vision when it comes to kick out passes is better than anybody in this draft, and it's not close. But not only can he dominate scoring and passing and dribbling and everything, he's also great from deep. I mean, like I said earlier, his 3-point percentage on the French team, super high. And in 99 games dating back to 2019, Wembanyama has hit 67 3-pointers and 71% of his free throws. So he's a shooter. Now, if Wembanyama is so great, where are his weaknesses at? And I'd argue that he doesn't really have any. Now, he might have a few, but they're not strong weaknesses. I mean, the best one people can come up with is the fact that his strength and durability isn't there, which are the same questions people had with Chet Holmgren coming into the league last year. And what happened with him? Didn't make it past Summer League. I would know. I made this video talking about how he's going to be the next Kevin Durant, and then he doesn't make it to the regular season. Tough. Hate to see it, but besides the point. Now, I know what you're thinking. A prospect with a bunch of talent, almost no flaws, and is 7'2"? Oh, I'd draft this baby first overall. And that's what the entire NBA is thinking. That's why this draft lottery is called the Wembanyama Sweepstakes, because whoever gets the first overall pick is drafting Victor. Now, who are the teams most likely to get in? Well, due to the draft odds and how they're currently set up, Houston, Detroit, San Antonio are all tied with 14% odds to land the first overall pick because they had the 3 worst records. And following them is Charlotte, Portland, Orlando, and so on. Now, Charlotte, Portland, Orlando all have 9% or higher, and after that, it takes a significant dip to like 6.8%. So these 6 teams are the ones that I want to focus on for the rest of the video. Now, the first team I want to cover is the Detroit Pistons, who had a league worst 17 wins this season. Now, the Pistons are an interesting team because for the last 3 years, they've had 3 top 10 picks. And with those picks, they haven't made the best decisions. Because I'd say they've kind of failed 3 years ago when they drafted Killian Hayes. Let's be real, he hasn't lived up to expectations. And then 2 years ago, they got Cade Cunningham with the first overall pick. And Cade had a solid rookie year before getting injured majorly earlier in his second season after 12 games. So his development really got stunted. But if Victor Wembanyama heads to Detroit, I'd say that Cade Cunningham and Victor would be a deadly duo for years to come. And maybe that puts them in relevancy because they haven't won more than 25 games in a season for the past 4 seasons. And the next team are the Houston Rockets, who got the second worst record in the league this season. And let's just say they've had a rough go of things ever since James Harden left the team after asking for a trade. Yes, James Harden was the only thing keeping that Houston Rockets team together. But anyway, the last 3 years haven't been pretty for Houston. 2 years ago, they had the second overall pick. They take Jalen Green, not a bad option. A year ago, they take Jabari Smith with the third overall pick. And while those two haven't blossomed into stars yet, they still have the potential to turn up. And if Victor Wembanyama takes his talents to Houston, you might just see James Harden signing there this summer. That's all I'm saying. And that brings us to the third team with 14% lottery odds in this year's draft, the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the Spurs have also been bad for the last few seasons, but they haven't been bad enough for a top tier pick. I'm talking they've got the 11th, 12th, and 9th pick for the last 3 years, leading to players like Devin Vassell, Joshua Primo, we won't get into that, and Jeremy Sohan being drafted. Now, out of those 3, I'd say that Jeremy is probably their best player, and he's not even really all of that. I mean, he's pretty good, but he's not like him, you know. Now, even though if Victor gets drafted here, he's not going to get a superstar teammate like he would with the other 2 teams. He is going to get a hell of a coach in Greg Popovich, who is known for coaching foreign guys and turning them into superstars, aka, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, does that ring a bell? Anyway, if he goes to the Spurs, that might be what's best for him out of these 3 teams because they're the only one with a great coach. I'm talking top 3 all-time coach. Next, Charlotte. Now, what is there to say about Charlotte? Well, the organization hasn't made the playoffs for the last 7 years. But what they have done in those 7 years is draft a superstar better than any of the guys that I've previously named in LaMelo Ball. Now, this guy has real potential, and alongside Victor Wembanyama, deadly duo. I'd say top 5 in the league in 5 years, that duo. That duo is probably top 3 in the league in 5 years. That's how good that would be. But would it even matter if the organization couldn't put a good team around those 2? I don't know. Maybe that team still flops because they're in Charlotte. Who knows? And after them comes Portland. Now, Portland is very interesting because this team has been good for a few years now, and they're just starting to fall out of grace because, I don't know, I mean, they have Damian Lillard, but that's pretty much it. Everyone around Damian, not good enough to help him get to the playoffs. Hell, Damian Lillard wants to win a championship. This team can't make it to the playoffs. They're fighting for a top 5 pick at this point. Should Damian Lillard leave? Probably. What happens if they get the number 1 pick in Victor Wembanyama? I don't know. The organization says they're loyal to Damian, but if they get the number 1 pick, Damian's probably out of town. Because if I'm Damian Lillard, I'm saying, Portland, you need to trade the number 1 overall pick to get me a really good co-star. All I'm saying is, it'll be very interesting. That's probably the most exciting outcome out of these top 6 picks is if Portland gets the number 1 overall pick, because anything could happen with that. Now, last and certainly least is the Orlando Magic, who got better considering that they had only won 20 games the 2 years before, and this year they won 30. So there's improvements in the right direction, but they're still a top 6 terrible team. Now, last year they did get the first overall pick with Paolo Banchero, and he's been phenomenal. Probably, was he Rookie of the Year? Well, he should have been he was Rookie of the Year. He's amazing. The year before that, they drafted Jalen Suggs. I don't know, they got so many guards there. Who knows what to do with Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz. Doesn't matter because Victor Wembanyama is a big man. And if Victor goes there, I don't want to say his career will rot away, but it'll probably take him a few years to develop because what they have going on there is messy as hell. Now, that's about it for the video. I did go over the teams really fast, but that's because I didn't want this video to drag on too long. I wanted to make the first half about Wembanyama's backstory and then talk about the teams. And I feel like I did that quickly but efficiently. Anyway, I'll catch y'all later. Much love. Deuces.